This is like the scariest bit of the video, I'm not gonna lie. If I had to describe it, I just felt like stone. I just couldn't talk about that stuff. It's not a choice, it's just the way you feel. Some of it was online, a lot of it hasn't been online. It never went well, okay? I remember being like blocked by this guy on Facebook. I was not interested in any form of a relationship at all whatsoever. Like, that was who Holly was. I was so scared, like terrified. What, how, when, like what do you even do? Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Welcome to today's video. This is honestly like a really big video for me. I am talking about stuff that I literally couldn't talk about in the past. It's kind of scary, but at the same time I'm really excited to open up these conversations and just talk about a lot of stuff basically that I've never really spoken about before. As you guys know, I'm not afraid of sharing things that are a bit more like taboo and unspoken, just because I feel like we need to have these conversations and it should be normalized. It shouldn't be something that we are scared of talking about or we're ashamed of talking about. Literally, like, we have to throw it back to I think 2020 when I just got back from Australia, before the pandemic, literally before that all happened. It was for my annual Valentine's Day video, and I basically sat down that year and talked about how I felt in terms of like my sexuality, and I literally couldn't even sit there and say the word sex. I'm not sure whether YouTube likes me talking about that, so I might have to bleep out the word, but I vividly remember filming that video. I just couldn't talk about that stuff, okay? I didn't know anything, and now here we are about, you know, 3 years later. Oh my gosh, time flies. But like 3 years later, I'm sitting here and I'm going to be sharing with you guys stuff about what's changed in terms of like my sexuality, how I feel towards others. Let's just say life happens. I've experienced stuff which I will start to share in this video, and yeah, so I really hope you guys do enjoy this video. Definitely like it if you do, and like it if you want more of this type of content. I just hope that this makes you feel like less alone, or you kind of start to feel more comfortable listening to these topics, or even just talking about them yourselves with your friends in your real life. So we're just gonna dive straight into like sexuality, not really the personal stuff to start with, but sexuality is basically an individual's sexual interests in others and your kind of like capacity to have sexual experiences. So this is usually expressed, you know, through our behavior, our emotions, feelings and desires, and obviously this is, yes, largely underpinned by biology, but obviously there is a huge psychological component to sexuality and sexual orientation, gender identification, and overall it basically exists on this huge spectrum. And basically, if we go back to that video that I talked about, which was uploaded in 2020, so like a while ago now, okay? It literally feels like yesterday, but it was 3 years ago, as we've established. In that video, I basically talked about the fact that I felt very, very asexual. Now, asexuality is a sexual orientation. It's not a choice, it's just the way you feel, and it's where you basically have no sexual interests in others. Again, it is a spectrum itself, so the definition isn't so like one size fits all. If I had to describe it, I just felt like stone, a cold piece of rock. I had no sexual interests in anyone, basically. Like, if someone said to me, oh, he's a good looking guy, I just wouldn't feel anything at all, and that's why it just felt like I was a stone with no emotions, just literally emotionless. And if we cut a long story short, I basically no longer feel asexual, and I am straight. Like, I know I'm straight. I am attracted to guys and not girls, and I will just say, yes, through my travel videos you saw kind of me meet people and stuff, but that isn't everything, okay? I'm just gonna say that some of it was online, a lot of it hasn't been online. Now, there is a definite paucity, lack, a deficit, a paucity. Is that how you say paucity?
Paucity.
Yes, paucity, scarcity. That's a synonym. Basically, there is a paucity of research in this area that looks at how like eating disorders influence asexuality or sexuality in females. For me personally, I feel like my asexuality was very tightly linked to my eating disorder and the fact that I was underweight, I wasn't at a healthy weight, I didn't have my period, so my female sex hormones were very low. I don't have all of the answers at all. I'm literally just one person, and this is, yes, quite anecdotal, we could say, which is definitely not the best scientific evidence at all. But I do believe that my eating disorder or eating disorders, because I kind of transitioned through many, determined and influenced my sexuality or asexuality, we could say. So the next thing I'm going to do is basically put things on a timeline for you guys so you can see, or I can talk in more detail about what has changed and how I felt kind of growing up. I got my period at the start of secondary school in the UK, so I was like 11 or 12, and with my period came sexual interests in guys. I went to an all-girls school, but we did have a boys' school that was kind of like associated with it, or not associated, but it was like basically next to the girls' school. And I do remember trying to like talk to guys or like message them on Facebook. Let me tell you in short, it never went well, okay? I remember being like blocked by this guy on Facebook. I dread to think what I was saying. You know, I was also interested in like the guys who I danced with in Billy Elliot. Like, I definitely knew that I was attracted to guys and I was straight and I was sexual. Like, I had these thoughts and these feelings. I never went on a date. I didn't get into a relationship with anyone at that age. That was like a period of 1.5 maybe to 2 years of my life. But very soon after that, I did start to lose a lot of weight and I basically developed an eating disorder. Now, it did start pretty early on, I'm not gonna lie, but you know, I lost my period, and from that point onwards, I basically lost all my sexual feelings, desires, emotions towards guys and towards others, okay? At that time, I was incredibly busy with school and dance, and I literally had my head in books. That like continued throughout my time in school, and then I spent 3 years at Cambridge. I was basically chronically stressed. We could say like I loved my degree and I loved my time at university, but I still literally was just studying all the time or dancing. I did not show any interest in getting into a relationship, dating. I had no attraction towards guys, as I said. Like, I literally felt nothing. Now, I will save like the biology and the detailed biology behind this for a biology video, but if we're talking and thinking about female sex hormones, the two main ones are estrogens and progesterone, and we do also have some testosterone, which is typically referred to as a male sex hormone, but a small amount is made by our ovaries, and the adrenal glands as well can make some testosterone in females. And hormones in general, they are like chemical messengers. They are released by glands and travel in the bloodstream to a target organ or organs where they have a particular effect, which is normally like a long-lasting effect. It doesn't happen instantly like nervous responses. And as I've mentioned before, like I had a blood test done in 2020 around that time, so when I first started in Cambridge in my first year, and I basically had very low to non-existent levels of estrogen and progesterone. And yes, I did have amenorrhea, functional hypothalamic amenorrhea. There is again a lack of research in this area to like look at the causes and the effects and stuff like that in premenopausal women, but it is a form of secondary amenorrhea, and it's basically where we have suppression of the hypothalamic, pituitary, ovarian axis. The hypothalamus basically doesn't release enough what we call gonadotropin releasing hormone, and the gonadotropins are FSH and LH, and they are released by the pituitary gland. FSH and LH would normally travel in the bloodstream to the ovaries to tell the ovaries to release estrogen. But if we don't have enough of those gonadotropins, then the ovaries won't release enough estrogen to cause like thickening of the lining of the uterus or the endometrium, and so we don't have menstruation. We basically have amenorrhea as a result. And we think that functional hypothalamic amenorrhea is usually due to a combination of like psychological stress, disordered eating, and or like excessive exercise. And this can impact like your cardiovascular health, your bone health, fertility. It has psychological impacts as well. And with me, but I am going to say this tentatively because, as I said, like we don't know for sure, but I would probably say that it was my chronic hypoestrogenemia, so low levels of estrogen for a very long time, that basically meant I felt very asexual and I had no sex drive, which is basically your libido. But we do know from biology that libido, your sex drive, is influenced by your hormones. Estrogen normally increases your sex drive, whereas progesterone normally suppresses it. I mean, that is an oversimplification, and we also know in females that testosterone can play a role, even though it's not the major sex hormone in women or females. But we do know that hormones influence libido, and obviously it can also be influenced by like social factors and psychology, and that's why I can also say that some of my personal lifestyle factors would have influenced my feelings of asexuality and the fact that I didn't have any libido for a very long period of my life. Like that probably spanned about 7 to 8 years. If we then come on to the time in my life where I started to allow my body to change, I started to gain weight, and so my body had more energy to put into my reproductive system. But when my levels of estrogen in particular started to increase again, that is when my sexuality or my asexuality started to change. I kind of no longer felt like a stone. I haven't forced anything at all, and it's all just come very naturally, we could say. Like, I just started to feel a certain way towards certain people. As you guys know, when I finished at Cambridge, I went to Australia, and I have since been traveling quite a lot, not in the pandemic obviously, but traveling has opened me up to these new experiences, and I've just met so many more people. As you guys know, my sister is in a relationship with her boyfriend Dan, and that just like opened my eyes as well to what like a healthy and happy relationship looks like. I saw couples and met couples when I was traveling, and I wouldn't say like podcasts influenced the way I felt, but like as I did start to experience these new things and these new emotions, I can only thank podcasts, okay? Because I did not learn anything about this at all when I was in school, okay, or at university. Now the sad thing is that I kind of almost felt scared or ashamed to like talk about this and open up these conversations with my sister, even though my sister and I are so close and so tight. But like my family knows me so well, they know me the best, right? And they knew who Holly was. Like, I was trapped inside this bubble. I showed no interest in others. I always said that I was going to be that cat lady. I was always going to be single. I was not interested in any form of a relationship at all whatsoever. Like, that was who Holly was. And I just kind of almost dismissed the fact that I was going to change as a person, you know. And everyone does change, everyone does evolve, and we grow, and that's normal and natural. So yeah, that's another reason I guess why I'm filming this video, because if you have been in a similar situation to me, and you know you are changing and you're welcoming these new emotions and feelings into your life, which you should do because it's normal and natural, then please do not hide away from it. You just have to accept that and let yourself change. This is like the scariest bit of the video, I'm not gonna lie. Okay, but like I just would only hope that you guys can respect that I am sharing something very intimate and personal to me, and I feel like I can, because you guys are amazing as an audience and a community, and I can only thank you for that. But as I said, going back to our benchmark video, the one I filmed in 2020, yes, I talked about asexuality and like my feelings in that sense, but I also spoke about the fact that I had never had any sexual experiences in my life, and I felt very late to the party. I didn't know anything about that. But yeah, the bottom line is, yes, I have had sexual experiences. I guess I could sit here and say I've lost my virginity, but I'm not going to be using the term virginity, because it is like, yes, a social construct, and I really don't like it, because you are not losing anything in having your first sexual experience, okay? If anything, you are only gaining a new experience. Like, I once watched a video on YouTube actually about this, and as soon as I heard this person, you know, rephrase it and say that you're not losing anything, you're just gaining something, like you're gaining a new life experience, that changed my whole perspective entirely. Because before this, I was so scared, like terrified. I'm very anxious about having sex, basically, okay? It just sounded really scary, okay? What, how, when, like, what do you even do? Didn't know. So the unknown, I guess, is the first reason. Secondly, I kind of feel like I just didn't know whether I would want to like wait to be like in a relationship, if I ever found myself in a relationship one day, wait until then to, you know, be with someone who I really trusted, or would it happen more kind of like spontaneously and naturally in the moment, you know, things felt right, and I'd be like, okay, yeah, fine, I feel ready to do this. I just didn't really know. And then another reason I guess that played into this was the fact that I kind of didn't want to lose my like relatability online, and I kind of like felt like I needed to uphold this identity of you know, Holly being someone who'd never been in a relationship, was single and was always gonna be single, was gonna be the cat lady, you know, I was just scared of kind of losing that identity. But as I said, I've now come to terms with the fact that I have changed. I am allowed to change. You know, if you think that someone online is gonna stay the same person over time, like, that's just the furthest from the truth. Like, nobody stays the same. But yeah, that's where I'm gonna leave it for now on that topic. I kind of just wanted to touch upon it, but I hope you have enjoyed this video anyway, as I said, and I just really want to open up more conversations in 2023 about this stuff. Okay, so definitely like this video if you do want to see more of that stuff and you liked this one. Leave your comments or video idea suggestions down below. You can also follow me on Instagram, because when I do Q&As I get you guys to send in questions over on Instagram, so that's at veganhollyg. And yeah, definitely subscribe if you want to stick around and join this incredible community, because it is just a safe space for us to share these more personal things, talk about these more taboo and intimate topics. Honestly, you are more than welcome to stick around and hit the bell so you know when it uploads. But yeah, that's where I'm going to leave it for today, and as always, I'll speak to you very soon in another video. Bye! Natural lighting is so annoying. I also have something in my mouth. Flaxseed. Hello, is that the ringing bell? Hello? Hello? Why can't I talk? Oh my god. Sorry, the lighting is changing all the time. I really do apologize. This lighting is beautiful but needs to stop. The hypothalamus. What? I don't know how else I could say that word. I like that word, but I don't know how to say it. Paucity. Why volume are you not working? AirPods? Please disconnect from my AirPods. Thank you.
Paucity.
Paucity, yes. I'm kind of hot in this jumper, but I think we'll be alright. I am literally the world's expert at waffling. I waffled for about 6 minutes about, I don't even know what.